Good morning, BookTube, YouTube. This is Johnny. Time to make a video. Today is February the 14th, 2025, 9:33 in the morning. And it's a Friday, and I thought I'd do a video. I think it was, I don't remember when it was last week. I can't remember when, but my wife and I, we went to Grand Haven, which is about 25 minutes from where we live, maybe 20 minutes, and they have a big library, and they have a used bookstore called Cheap Stacks. And that day we went to Grand Haven, the sun was out and the roads were dry, and so my wife said, do you want to go to Grand Haven and go Cheap Stacks? We try to go at least once a year, maybe in the summer with spring. Sometimes when we go to Grand Haven, we not only go to the public library used bookstore Cheap Stacks, but we go to Goodwill there in Grand Haven. There's a retail shop that sells used books. There's a place downtown in Grand Haven that sells used books, but my wife said, well, just go to Cheap Stacks and then we'll come home. So these are what I found at Cheap Stacks. And my wife bought a bunch of books, and I bought these books. Usually when I go to Cheap Stacks, and I've made videos over the years about Cheap Stack used book hauls, I just look for things that I collect. Now, you know, I collect biographies, I collect history, travel, politics, anything that I go through the authors, A, B, C, D, all the way through the alphabet. I go down the rows and I look for the writers that I collect. And so this is what I found at Cheap Stacks. One thing I'll show is I always like biographies, and I found a biography of the poet Elizabeth Bishop. It's called Love Unknown, The Life and Worlds of Elizabeth Bishop by Thomas Transvino. I had already, he edited it with Saskia Hamilton, Thomas Transvino, Words in Air, the complete correspondence between Elizabeth Bishop and Robert Lowell. As you know, Robert Lowell is one of my favorite poets. I've shown you my Robert Lowell collection over the years, and I was going to show you all my Elizabeth Bishop collection, but there's a time restriction, so I'm just going to show you that he wrote this biography, and then he edited these letters between Robert Lowell. I will show you one book I have, Elizabeth Bishop. It's in the Library of America, Poems, Prose, and Letters by Elizabeth Bishop. So I found that. I found another biography I'll show you. When I was in high school and my early college days, I was really into Erich Fromm, and so I found this biography on Erich Fromm, who was a psychoanalyst, and he was a political activist. Erich Fromm was a political activist, psychologist, psychiatrist, and a philosopher, and one of the most important intellectuals of the 20th century. He dissected the sadomasochistic appeal of brutal dictators. Sounds like Trump, doesn't it? While he also elegantly championing love, which he insisted was nothing if it did not involve joyful contact with others and humanity, at large. Admired all over the world, Fromm continues to inspire with his message of universal brotherhood, quest for lasting peace. So I found this biography on him. I have 2 books by him. I found one, but I can't find the other one. And the title escapes me now in my old age. I think it was called The Art of Loving. I can't remember. But anyway, you know, I collect books on psychoanalysis. I collect books on Fromm, books on Jung, Freud. So I found that. And then I found this biography of the great photographer Wallace Evans by James R. Mello. I have 3 other biographies that James Mello wrote. He wrote one on Gertrude Stein called The Charmed Circle. He wrote a biography on Ernest Hemingway, and he wrote a biography on Nathaniel Hawthorne, which I all have. I think the only one I've read is one on Nathaniel Hawthorne, but this is his one on Walker Evans, and where he's known for his photos taken during the Depression. I have the book, but I forgot to bring it up here. As I told you, I make these videos spontaneously. I don't plan them out. But I was really pleased to find this biography on Walker Evans. Maybe it says here in the flap here. The Depression-era photographs of Alabama sharecroppers by Walker Evans remain among the most indelible and ironic images in the American consciousness. Indeed, the entire collection of this great photographer is one of the most influential bodies of photographic work in this century. As James Mello's landmark biography makes clear, how Walker Evans was not the propagandist for social causes he was presumed to be. He was instead a fictitious observer of the true nature of things, or as he himself had said, of things as they are. His instinctive aversion to artness led him to documenting the dusty particulars of American life in the back roads and rundown mill towns, roadside stands, torn movie posters, advertisements for departed minstrel shows. He developed a peculiar American vernacular that made his photographs almost immediately recognizable. So yeah, I found this. I was really kind of pleased because so I got that biography of Walker Evans. I have a book of his photos, which I didn't bring up. Maybe in the next video I'll show them. I just came to my mind that I have this book of just his photos. I don't know, I forgot to bring it up. It's just, that's why I should plan when I make videos, but I don't. I do spontaneous. And then I found a biography on Thoreau, the philosopher of the Enlightenment, by Andrew S. Curran. I have Thoreau, The Art of Thinking Freely. So I got that. And then I found, let's see what else I have here. Oh, I found this book on Winslow Homer, illustrated book by David Tatham. Winslow Homer is one of the most famous 19th century illustrators. And so yeah, I like Winslow Homer. the illustrated book by Winslow Homer. Let's see what else. I found this book on, I collect books on the British Empire, British history, and this is by Piers, Brendon, The Decline and Fall of the British Empire, 1781 to 1997. I have another book of his called The Dark Valley in my library by him. I'm showing you all the, I already had this in my library. This is by Michel Foucault. I can't pronounce his name. I have this already. I collect his writings. The Order of Things and Archaeology of Human Sciences. Translation by, I can't pronounce his name, but I already have this in my Michel Foucault, I can't pronounce his name, but I already had this, so this will go in the box of doubles in my car. What else I have? I'll just start showing the fiction. This is Skippy Dies, a novel by Paul Murray. I have another novel by Paul Murphy in my library, and I looked and looked, I can't find it. Paul Murphy was born in 1975. He studied English literature at Trinity College in Dublin, creative writing at the University of East Anglia. His first novel, The Evening of Long Goodbyes, which I have, which I can't find, I don't know where it went, was shortlisted for the Whitbread First Novel Award in 2003. He was nominated for the Kerry Irish Fiction Award. He lives in Dublin, so I found that. Yeah, I can't find it. I looked and looked. I know I didn't get rid of it. I collect Europia editions. If I see an Europia edition, I buy them, and this is one I didn't have. Eva Sleeps by Francesca Melandri, and this is translated from the Italian by Katherine Gregor. See the Europia edition down there? I collect these, and I've read them. I mean, I always have enjoyed reading them. And then I found this one, winner, Christopher Nicholson, in the Europia edition by Christopher Nicholson. It says here, published weekly, little blurb, engrossing, delicious portrait of the artist as an old man. The Scotsman, a little blurb, a fine, intelligent novel, admirably true to the spirit of Hardy's work. It says here, the Sunday Times, a little blurb, devotees of Thomas Hardy should find much to treasure. Nicholson emulates Hardy's style with remarkable acuity. I collect the writings of Thomas Hardy, biographies, poetry, his novels. So I found this in the Europia edition. I also collect the historical fiction of Jonathan Rabb, and this is Rosa. Rosa is about, it says here, a murdered revolutionary, a vicious serial killer, a city in chaos, all lead to Rosa. And so, yeah, I have 3 other historical fiction novels by him. I was going to show them, but, you know, I didn't want to just spend all the time showing but as I told you, I have The Overseer by Jonathan Rabb and The Book of Q, but this is his historical fiction on Rosa. I collect the writings of Pete Hamill, and this is his journalistic pieces. Pete Hamill, Piecework, writings on men and women, fools and heroes, lost cities, vanished friends, Small Pleasures and Large Calamities, and How the Weather Was. I collect his writings. He wrote a memoir with his, I collect him. I already had this in my library, but this is by Dana Spiotta. This is her novel, Innocence in Others. I already had this in my library, but I wasn't sure. It was only 50 cents. I collect the writings of Barry Ainsworth, and I didn't have this one. I wasn't sure, but the way I'll buy a book if it's really cheap, and if I have a double or I already have it, I'll just put it in my car in a box with all the doubles. And I collect the writings of Barry Ainsworth, and I didn't have this one, the Songs of the Kings. It says here, as the harsh wind holds the Greek fleet trapped in the straits of Ulyss, frustration and political impotence turn into a desire for the blood of a young and innocent woman, blood that will appease the gods and allow the troops to set sail. And it goes on here. So anyway. And then I collect the writings of Iris Murdoch. I didn't know if I had this one, since I have maybe 20 of her novels. And she's one of my favorite writers. And I didn't have this one. This is Iris Murdoch, Henry, and Cato. Yeah, I didn't have this, and which I was really pleased that I didn't have it. She wrote all these novels. She wrote Under the Net, Flight from the Enchanter, The Sandcastle, The Bell, The Severed Head, Unofficial Rose, The Unicorn, Italian Girl, Red and Green, The Time of Angels, The Nice and the Good, Brunto's Dream, Accidental Man, The Black Prince, The Sacred and Profane Love Machine, The Word Child. She wrote some plays. She taught philosophy, Ernest Murdoch, but she was a very acclaimed writer. I've always enjoyed her writings. Every time I read her, I always get, I really enjoy Ernest Murdoch. So those are things I got at Cheap Stacks in Grand Haven used bookstore, their library used bookstore. Winter by Christopher Nicholson in the Europa edition. Eva Sleeps, an epic novel by Francesca Melandri, Europa edition. Skippy Dies, a novel by Paul Murphy. A biography on the poet Elizabeth Bishop. Love Unknown, The Life and Worlds of Elizabeth Bishop by Thomas Transvino. A novel by Barry Ainsworth, Songs of the Kings. A novel by Diana Spiotta, Innocence and Others, a novel. Journalism, where all different kinds of miscellaneous writings by Pete Hamill, Piecework. Historical fiction, Rosa, by Jonathan Rabb. The Order of Things by the philosopher Michel. Forgive me for my mispronunciation. Decline and Fall of the British Empire, 1781 to 1997, by Piers, Brendon. A book on the famous illustrator Winslow Homer, the illustrated book by David Tatham. Yeah, you can see his illustrations. He has his distinctive illustrations. Then a biography on Darut, The Art of Thinking Freely by Andrew S. Kerman. It's really good in perfect condition. It was withdrawn from the library. Then a biography of the famous photographer Walker Evans by James. This is the thing I really was pleased to find. And one thing else, it's not a library withdrawal. It was a donation. It's in perfect condition. It's somebody got it, didn't read it, and got it into the cheap stacks. And then a biography on the psychiatrist Erich Fromm. The Lives of Erich Fromm, Love's Prophet by Lawrence J. Freeman. So these are the kind of things I collect, things I like to have around me in the hermit hut, in the decline of the American Empire. And so now I can take these back downstairs in the lower level, try to find a place for them. I'll put Walker Evans with my Walker Evans collection. I'll put Iris Murdoch with my Iris Murdoch collection. I have a whole stack of books on the British Empire. I have a whole stack of books by Barry Ainsworth. Maybe I'll find Paul Murphy's book, The Evening of a Long Goodbyes. I don't know where it is. I just can't find it. And I have a section in my lower level where I put all my Europia editions. And I have a whole shelf of Iris Murdoch. And I'll put my biography on Elizabeth Bishop with my Elizabeth Bishop collection. Yeah, last night I was reading, I get this out once in a while and read the letters between Elizabeth Bishop and Robert Lowell. They were very close friends, and I really like reading the letters of Robert Lowell. I really like his poetry, and I've shown you my Robert Lowell collection, but he's one of my favorite poets. And so I've been reading this down the lower level at night. As far as my paper diary, I'm on page 144 for the year 2025. Yeah, I've written 144 pages in the year 2025. As far as in the mornings, I'm still in I don't know, I can't get anything in the mornings lately, and so I've been listening. Well, yesterday, I listened to a sermon by the great evangelical Welsh preacher, Dr. Lloyd Jones. I listened to a sermon by him. I used to have all his books. He did a huge series on Romans, Dr. Lloyd Jones. He did a big series. One of the first things I read when I came into the Reformed faith was Dr. Lloyd Jones' sermons on the Epistle to the Ephesians, which I got rid of. And I had, he wrote a book on depression. He wrote a book on the Sermon on the Mount, which I did keep. And, but most of the books I had by Lloyd Jones, I got rid of. I had read them and listened to his sermons. Now everything, you can go online and you can listen to Lloyd Jones. He's really was a great preacher. He passed away. So I've been listening to Lloyd Jones sermons. Well, I did yesterday. Maybe today I will too. But I just can't get into anything. I don't know what it is. It's just, maybe it's the gloomy weather, the snow and the ice and the gray, dark days. Now I do read a little bit of medieval mysticism. I do read that book by Michael Horton on the shaman and the sage. But I just can't get into anything lately. But once in a while I get in this where you just kind of you have to let your mind rest. No, I do been reading in the afternoons. I've been reading other books, non-Christian books. So, yeah. So I'll sign off. I just wanted to show you these cheap stack used book haul. And I'll download this video. And yeah, my wife went to church to help fold church bulletins, go to the grocery store. Today's Valentine's Day. My wife and I, we exchanged Valentine's cards this morning. My wife knows I hate that now. I don't believe in using that word love. It's thrown around too easily. I enjoy eating chocolate, so my wife bought this for my Valentine's Day. No, yeah, I think we use the word love too lightly. Love is, to me, is a kind of sacred word. It shouldn't be used lightly or flippantly. It's kind of like, okay, I love candy bars. Well, I love my wife. What? Do I love my candy bars on the same level that I love my wife? Of course not. That's absurdity. I love God. So I love a candy bar and I love God. Is this a candy bar a God? Do I bow down to a Dove candy bar? Do I worship a candy bar? No. Many years ago, before I was married, before I met Carol, when I was out in California, I rarely told any woman that I loved her. I mean, I had to be completely honest. I mean, now maybe when I was in my teenage years, I don't know if I ever used that word. If I told my high school girlfriends that I loved her. I don't remember. I would tell women that I enjoyed being with them, that I thanked them for spending time with them, that I found them, I delighted in them, but did I actually love them? I don't know. It takes a lifetime to know what love is. I think people take relationships, marriage relationships, too lightly. To me, love is something that is eternal. That when I love my wife, that love for my wife will not die once I die. That love for my wife will live for eternity. True love does not die. So when you say to someone that you love them, now I love my children. As a father, as a grandfather, I love my grandchildren. I love my wife. Now, of course, there's love for neighbors. But I know I fail in loving my neighbors. I fail in loving mankind. I know I fail in loving my wife. I know I fail in truly loving my grandchildren and my children. I fail, but my desire is to love. Now, do I seek to be loved? I don't know. I know I'm loved by my wife and my children and grandchildren. Anyway, I'm rambling. So I hope you had a good Valentine's Day, a good Friday. These are my cheap stack used book haul. Writing in my diary, kind of don't know what to do these days about morning reading. My wife and I are still reading through the Gospel of Luke. In the New Testament, we're still reading the Valley of Vision. We do pray in the mornings. We go through the Gospel of Luke. We're coming to the Passion, the crucifixion of Christ. And so yeah, still reading the book of Psalms. So it's going on 30 minutes. So I'll sign off. Have a good reading weekend. I hope you're all doing well. May the Lord bless. Until next time, bye.